Hey everyone. Before we dive into tonight's story, hit like and subscribe if you love real, unsettling internet tales. Drop a comment below. Where are you watching from, and what time is it? I'm sharing this because keeping it to myself feels worse than saying it out loud. What happened to me in 2023 still haunts me, and trust me, you don't want to miss this. Back in early 2023, I was living alone in a basement studio apartment in Portland, Oregon. It wasn't much, one small window at street level, concrete floors, thin walls that carried every footstep from upstairs. I had just come out of a long relationship and was trying to freelance my way through rent. Most of my work was remote editing gigs, so my sleep schedule was wrecked. I'd stay up until 3 or 4 in the morning scrolling through forums and obscure sites just to feel like the world was still awake with me. There was one site I used to browse a lot. It wasn't technically illegal or anything, just an old discussion board where people shared unexplained live stream finds. Most of it was fake horror projects or obvious ARG stuff, dead links, grainy clips, nothing real. One night, around 3:17 a.m., I found a new thread. No title, just a string of numbers as the post name. Inside was a single embedded window and a black screen with white text. Stream initializing in 0958. Under it, one comment. Don't refresh. It doesn't like that. I almost closed it, but I didn't. The countdown kept ticking. No sound, just numbers dropping in silence. I remember glancing around my apartment for no reason, like I had already done something wrong. When it hit 0, the screen flickered to life. It was a room, concrete walls, a single overhead bulb swinging slightly. In the center was a man sitting on a wooden chair, wrists zip-tied behind him. No tape over his mouth. He was awake, breathing fast, looking around like he was waiting for something. There was no chat box, no viewer counter, no controls, just the feed. At first I assumed it was staged, some kind of indie horror stream, but the lighting wasn't cinematic. It was harsh and uneven. The man's breathing sounded real, panicked. He kept whispering something under his breath, but the mic crackled too much to make it out. Then the camera shifted, not dramatically, just slightly to the left, like someone nudged it. That's when I noticed something on the back wall, a tall metal shelving unit, and leaning against it, a rectangular sheet of reflective insulation foam, the shiny kind contractors use. It was angled just enough to catch part of the room, and for maybe half a second, I saw something in that reflection that made my chest tighten. A desk, a lamp, a dark blue hoodie hanging off the back of a chair. My desk, my lamp, my hoodie, exactly where they were in my apartment. I froze. I told myself it was coincidence. Lots of desks look the same. Lots of lamps are basic IKEA models. My brain was reaching for logic at lightning speed. Then, the man in the chair slowly lifted his head and looked directly into the camera and whispered, clear this time, "He's watching." The stream cut to black. No error message, no buffering symbol, just black. I immediately stood up and scanned my apartment, checked the smoke detector, the corners of the ceiling, behind the bookshelf. I even opened the bathroom cabinet like someone could be crouched inside it. Nothing. I went back to my laptop. The thread was gone, not deleted, gone, like it had never existed. I refreshed the forum homepage, scrolled through recent posts, nothing with numbers, no new threads at all. My heart was pounding so hard I could hear it in my ears. I checked my browsing history. The page URL was there, but when I clicked it, it redirected to the forum's main page. I right-clicked and copied the link into a separate tab, 404. I don't know why, but I checked my laptop's webcam next. The little green light wasn't on. It never flickered, but something about it made me uncomfortable. I grabbed a piece of electrical tape from my drawer and covered it anyway. That should have been the end of it, but around 3:03 a.m., my phone buzzed. Unknown number. No text, just an image attachment. My stomach dropped before I even opened it. It was a photo of my apartment building, taken from across the street. My basement window was visible in the bottom right corner, and the light in my apartment was on. Under the image was one line of text: "Delay is shorter than you think." I ran to the window and crouched below the frame. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely pull the blinds down fully. I didn't see anyone outside. The street was empty. No parked cars with engines running, no footsteps, nothing. I called the number back. Disconnected. I didn't sleep all that night. I stayed in the corner of my apartment with every light on, kitchen knife on the table next to me, like that would somehow matter. The next morning, I told my friend Marcus about it. He's into cybersecurity, super logical guy. I sent him the image. He called me 5 minutes later. "Dude, look at your window." I zoomed in. There was something in the glass, reflection. Not outside, inside, behind me. A tall, dark shape standing near my kitchenette. I don't remember taking the photo from that angle. I don't remember anyone being in my apartment. Marcus ran metadata on the image. No EXIF data, no timestamp, no device ID. Scrubbed clean. He asked if I staged it. I hung up on him. That same afternoon, I packed a bag and stayed at a motel 2 towns over. When I came back the next day to grab more clothes, my router was on the floor. I don't remember unplugging it. The Ethernet cable had been pulled out, neatly. Nothing was stolen, nothing broken, just moved. I broke my lease 2 weeks later, bought a new laptop in cash, switched phone carriers, changed my number. I even started using public Wi-Fi for months because I couldn't stand the idea of a fixed home connection. Nothing like that has happened since, but sometimes when I'm on a video call for work, I notice a slight delay in my own camera feed, a fraction of a second where my reflection doesn't sync perfectly with my movement. It's probably just latency. At least, that's what I tell myself. But I don't stay up past 2 a.m. anymore. And if you ever find a stream with a countdown and no title, close it immediately. Back in late 2022, I was freelancing full-time as a video editor for my apartment in Denver, Colorado. I wasn't doing anything glamorous, mostly YouTube cuts, real estate promos, startup ads that never really launched. It paid the bills, barely. That winter was rough. 2 long-term clients dropped me within the same week. My savings were thinning out, and rent was coming up fast. So I started browsing smaller freelance boards, the kind that don't ask too many questions. Quick gigs, fast pay. That's where I found the listing. No company name, no logo, just footage cleanup, $900, 24-hour turnaround, discretion required. I'd done cleanup work before, removing timestamps, stabilizing shaky security cam footage, enhancing low-light clips. Nothing illegal, just technical work. I messaged the contact. The username was Northbridge. They replied within minutes. No small talk, just instructions and a download link. 5 separate camera angles. Warehouse setting. My job was simple. Remove identifying markers, blur faces, slightly crop frame edges, keep original timestamps intact, deliver in grayscale. I hesitated for maybe 10 seconds, then I downloaded it. The footage was grainy security camera video from what looked like a loading dock at night. One camera pointed toward a roll-up metal door, another toward a side alley, the third inside the warehouse floor. About 3 minutes in, 2 people dragged something into frame, wrapped in a heavy tarp. There was no audio, but the way the tarp bent around the shape underneath didn't look staged. I told myself it was a student film, a fake crime project. I've edited enough horror content to recognize practical effects. Still, the movements were too casual, too efficient, like they'd done it before. I forced myself not to overthink it. Blur faces, crop edges, desaturate, render. 6 hours later, I sent the files. Payment hit my crypto wallet within 5 minutes. $900, exact amount. Then another message came through. Northbridge, appreciate the clean version. You removed what mattered. I stared at that sentence for a long time. I typed back, "What do you mean?" No response. An hour later, the account was deleted. I tried clicking the original message thread. Gone. The download link expired. The files I had saved locally were still there, so I thought. The next morning, I turned on the TV while making coffee. Breaking news. A body had been discovered in an industrial district warehouse fire overnight. They showed aerial footage. It was the same building, same roll-up door, same alley. Then they cut to a security still released by police. It was from one of the cameras I edited. Except in the police still, there was a logo visible on the back wall, a shipping company name. In my version, that section of the wall had been cropped out because Northbridge specifically instructed me to tighten frame edges. My stomach dropped so fast I had to sit down. I ran to my laptop and opened the folder where I'd stored the original footage. Empty. Completely empty. Not in the recycle bin, not in recent files, nothing. Even the exported clean versions were gone. I checked my system logs. No large deletions registered. No antivirus warnings. Just gone. That's when the nausea really hit. I wasn't just some random editor who worked on a creepy project. I had altered evidence, whether I meant to or not. Around 8 p.m. that night, I heard something slide against my front door. Not a knock, not footsteps, just a faint scraping sound. I waited for a full minute before opening it. There was a plain white envelope on the floor. No stamp, no address, no name. Inside was a printed photo, one frame from the warehouse footage, the tarp partially unwrapped, and in the corner of the frame, something I hadn't noticed while editing, a small, distinct tattoo visible on the victim's wrist, circled in red pen. Under it, typed in small letters, "Details disappear when you follow instructions." I locked the door and didn't move for a long time. No one buzzed the building. My downstairs neighbor hadn't heard anything. The hallway camera, according to the property manager, malfunctioned that evening. I didn't call the police. What was I supposed to say? Hi, I helped edit possible murder footage for an anonymous crypto client, and now I'm receiving cryptic messages? I wiped my computer that night, full factory reset, changed my Wi-Fi router, canceled every freelance account I had. For weeks, I kept thinking about that tattoo. It meant someone wanted me to know something. Either I had removed something critical, or I had left something visible that I wasn't supposed to. About 3 weeks later, I received one final message. Not email, not text, a small deposit notification to my crypto wallet. Attached memo, "You were never the target." I still don't know if that was reassurance or a warning. I stopped taking anonymous editing jobs after that. Took a full-time in-house position with a marketing firm. Fluorescent lights, co-workers, cameras everywhere. Safe. At least it feels safer. But sometimes when I'm trimming footage late at night and I crop just a little too much from the edge of a frame, I freeze. Because now I know Sometimes what you remove matters more than what you leave behind. If anyone ever offers you easy money to clean something you don't fully understand, don't. Some versions aren't meant to be cleaned.
Back in 2019, I had just dropped out of college. I was 21, living in a cramped two-bedroom apartment in Dayton, Ohio. My roommate, Chase, was barely functioning, bouncing between dead-end jobs and whatever high kept him sane. I'd been spiraling too. Anxiety was eating me alive, my savings were non-existent, and I felt like the world was pressing down on me from all sides. One night, while scrolling through a shady group chat, a job opportunity appeared. It was vague. Remote assistant needed, deep web access required, pays in Bitcoin, instant payout. At the time, I was desperate. A few clicks and a quick email later, I got a response with instructions to log into a dark web board. A preloaded Bitcoin wallet came with it, $200 just for starting. At first, the work was simple. Post links to specific forums, keep track of them in a spreadsheet, nothing more. Payments arrived like clockwork. I started making hundreds a week, enough to pay rent and buy groceries. I told myself it was just sketchy marketing, nothing truly dangerous. But over the next few months, things escalated. Instructions became stranger. Rename folders with cryptic strings, upload data to obscure forums, mirror posts I'd made hours before. One folder I accidentally opened contained nothing but strings of numbers, hundreds of them. No pictures, no text. Cold, sterile, like I was moving pieces in a machine I didn't understand. I asked my contact, Darian, if this was illegal. The reply, stick to your tasks, don't get curious. That was it. Sharp, cold. I kept going. The money was too good to stop. Then, early January 2020, there was a knock. Loud, deliberate, at 6 a.m. I froze. Two men in plain clothes flashed badges. FBI. They asked if I'd used certain emails, IPs, forums. Every casual click I'd made, every repost, was now evidence I couldn't even comprehend. I learned I wasn't the target. I was a digital mule, a middleman passing files from predators to hide the real criminals. They took my laptop, but left me free. The words that haunted me for years. Your IP is forever tied to this case. After that, I fell apart. Moved back with my mom, wiped all my accounts, quit crypto, changed my name legally. Every job interview, every background check reminded me that a single mistake online could ruin a life, even if I never meant harm. I still have nightmares of folders filled with meaningless codes, emails that feel threatening, and the knock on the door. I know I wasn't the only one who got caught in this web. I got lucky. I escaped. But the weight of knowing what I carried unknowingly, it never leaves you. It was a rainy night in Chicago. I was working late at the diner on Halstead, closing up alone. The streets were slick with water, neon signs reflecting in puddles, and the usual hum of distant traffic filled the air. I remember locking the back door and heading out to my beat-up car, rain dripping from the brim of my hat. That's when I saw the note stuck under my windshield wiper. Just a plain piece of paper with sharp black handwriting. You know too much. Meet me at the pier. Midnight. At first I laughed. I thought it was some prank from the night shift, maybe Joey trying to freak me out. But something about the script felt deliberate, patient. I folded the note, stuffed it into my coat, and drove home, my stomach tightening with each red light. I didn't sleep that night.
Every time the clock hit midnight, I imagined a shadow moving outside my window. Finally, curiosity, or stupidity, got the better of me. I grabbed my raincoat, flashlight, and the little pocket knife I always carried, and headed for the pier. The pier was deserted, the lights flickering. I called out, my voice cracking. "Hello?" No answer, just the rhythmic slap of wood against wood. I walked further, flashlight cutting thin lines through the mist. That's when I saw him. A man, tall, hooded, face hidden in shadow. He didn't move at first. Then he raised a gloved hand and pointed at me. "You're late," he said, voice low, calm, like he'd been rehearsing. I swallowed hard. Who are you?" "Names don't matter. Actions do." He tossed a small envelope at my feet. I hesitated, then picked it up. Inside was a single photograph, me, walking home from work 2 nights ago, rain dripping off my coat, completely unaware someone was watching. My heart pounded. What do you want?" He stepped closer, just enough for me to see the glint of a knife in his belt. "Balance," he said. "You've been meddling, telling people things they shouldn't know." I froze, and then, almost as quickly as it started, it ended. He turned and walked toward the fog, vanishing into the night. The only thing left was the envelope in my hand. I opened it again. Inside was another note. "Consider this a warning. Continue, and next time you won't see me leave." I never went back to the forums. I changed my routines, my routes, even the diner I worked at. That night stayed with me, the feeling of being watched, of someone calculating every step I took. Years later, I still check the pier sometimes, just to see if he's there. But he never comes back. Only the memory, sharp as the rain that night, reminding me, some secrets are better left alone. Think you're safe behind your screens? Think again. The next time someone says you know too much, will you be ready, or will it be your turn to vanish? Don't scroll past, stay alert, and share this story before it's too late. I was driving home from a late shift at the hospital in Minneapolis, tired and craving sleep. The streets were empty, snow covering the sidewalks, headlights reflecting off icy patches. My phone buzzed, an unknown number. Normally I'd ignore it, but something made me answer. A distorted voice spoke. "You shouldn't have logged in to that server." I laughed nervously. "Wrong number, I think." "No mistake," the voice hissed. "You have what we need. Leave it on your porch by sunrise, or someone will come inside to collect it." My hands froze on the wheel. The only server I'd accessed recently was at work, a secured hospital server containing patient data I'd been tasked with cleaning for a software upgrade. I hadn't touched anything sensitive, hadn't downloaded a thing. By the time I got home, my nerves were shredded. I didn't see anyone outside. I left the laptop bag on the porch, just as the voice instructed, then went back inside, doors locked, blinds drawn. Morning came, and the bag was gone. No sign of forced entry, no footprints. I checked the system logs at work. Nothing. Whoever it was, they hadn't touched the server digitally, but they'd been watching. They knew. Weeks went by. I avoided my usual routes, changed locks, and started carrying a small flashlight and pepper spray in my coat pocket. Then, one night, a package arrived, a black box with a tiny camera inside. A single note read, "We watch to correct, not to harm. Stay quiet." I never saw the sender. I never logged into that server again. I deleted every trace of the project from my personal devices and started working night shifts that didn't require remote access. Even now, years later, I get a chill whenever a notification pops up from an unknown number or a package arrives unannounced. Some things follow you, even when you think they're gone. Think your work or your secrets are safe? Think again. The moment you log in, someone might already be watching. Stay aware, protect your data, and share this story, because you never know who's paying attention. I had just moved into a new apartment in Portland, Oregon. It was small, cheap, and perfect for me, except for the constant humming from the old building wiring. I told myself it was nothing, just old pipes and electricity. One evening, around midnight, I got a knock at the door. No one was there. I shrugged it off, but the next night it happened again, and then a small envelope was slipped under my door. Inside was a single USB drive and a note. Check what you found online. Curious, I plugged the drive into my laptop. Files, thousands of them, videos, documents, encrypted folders labeled with my name, my address, even my work schedule. Every place I had been recently, every website I had visited, it was all there. Someone had tracked me for weeks. Panic set in. I unplugged everything, disconnected from the internet, and tried to leave, but the sense of being watched followed me everywhere. My neighbors, my mailbox, even the reflection in the elevator mirrored eyes I couldn't see. Weeks later, I got another package, this time a single Polaroid of me leaving work. No writing, just a timestamp. That was the final warning I needed. I moved across the country, changed my phone number, and replaced every device I owned. Even now, when I check my email or see a package slip under the door, I feel that same creeping fear. Someone knew too much, and they wanted me to know they were there. Think you're safe behind walls and passwords? Think again. One click, one slip, and you're exposed. Stay vigilant, protect your privacy, and always question what you download, or you might not be the only one watching. I moved into the new apartment in Cleveland, Ohio, thinking I was finally leaving all my old mess behind. Rent was cheap, the building quiet, and for a while it felt safe. I unpacked my boxes, set up my laptop, and even bought a small plant to make it feel like home. The first week was normal, but then the little things started. Doors slightly ajar when I was sure I'd locked them. My shoes moved from where I'd left them, and the faint smell of cleaning chemicals that no one used. I chalked it up to paranoia. Then came the room. I woke one night to a faint buzzing, like a fluorescent light. I followed the sound and found the maintenance closet in the hall slightly open. I hadn't touched it. Inside, nothing but shelves and dust, but the floor had footprints in a pattern I didn't recognize. The hairs on my neck stood up. Someone had been here, just a few feet from my door. That night, my laptop pinged with a message from an unknown address. We see everything. My blood ran cold. I powered it off, shoved it under my bed, and pretended to sleep, but I didn't. Every creak, every distant sound made me jump. I kept my keys clutched in my hand all night. Over the next few days, the notes continued. Slips of paper under my door with phrases like, "Trust is earned," or "Look closer." Nothing threatening, but everything precise, targeted. Whoever it was knew me, my routines, my habits. Finally, one morning, the breaker in the building tripped. I went to check, and someone had left a sticky note on the panel. You're being watched. Learn the rules. That was it. No signature, no instructions. Just a message that made me realize how small I really was in someone else's game. I left that apartment the same day. Every device, every personal item I could, I replaced or destroyed. VPN, burner phone, new email, everything. I've moved twice since then. Nothing else has happened, but the memory doesn't fade. I still jump at shadows. I still check every door, every corner. The lesson? Sometimes it's not about what you see, it's about what you don't see. And in this digital world, someone could be watching, just waiting for the smallest mistake. If this story chills you like it did me, hit that subscribe button. I've got more stories like this, and trust me, you don't want to miss the next one.